Good afternoon. So many things going on. It's been a while since I've talked to you folks. Got some things on my mind. Got things kicking off in Minneapolis again. Here in Richmond, we got all kinds of people shooting each other. We got the news media reporting things one way. We got politicians telling you something else. We got the police haters. We got the police lovers. We got anti-gun, pro-gun. We got all kinds of stuff going on. And somewhere out there in the midst of all of this is reality. It's the truth. It's what's going on. But so many people benefit from lying to you and telling you their version as opposed to the real version. It's hard to know where to stand. Now, I try to be consistent, or you should know that by now. Being a human, I'm fallible. I probably make a mistake here and there. If I seem like I'm not being consistent, it's not because I'm trying to be inconsistent. But again, being a human, occasionally I'll make mistakes just like anybody else does. But I do try. I do try to remain intellectually honest and intellectually consistent. And for me, everything boils down to individual liberty. Are you or are you not a free human being? Does our Constitution and the Bill of Rights actually mean what it says, or does it only mean what it says when it's convenient for you? Now, think about that for a minute. Is it only true? Does it only mean what it says when it's convenient? Because trust me, there are things I see and hear out here that piss me off, that irritate me, that I find offensive, but weighing everything under the parameters of individual liberty, at the end of it all, I have to ask myself, is this infringing on my liberty? Yeah, that guy over there, he's being an asshole. Listen to what he's saying. Look at what he's doing. He's being an ass. I don't like that guy. I hate him. Is he infringing on your liberty? Is he infringing on any of your rights? Now, for example, the BLM stuff that's going on right now, once again, we got riots and looting and burning going on in Minneapolis. And we can argue about whose fault that is and what they hope to accomplish with it. But they are infringing on someone else's liberty and rights. When you bust into somebody's business, I don't care who you are. I don't care what your skin color is. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your sex is. I don't care which one of the 123 genders you think you are, or what political party you're in. When you break into someone's business and steal their stuff, you are infringing on their rights. You're wrong. You should be arrested. Yeah, you heard me. You should be arrested. You should be held accountable for infringing on someone else's rights. But understand this. That goes for everybody, including politicians and the police. If you infringe on my rights, if you break the law, I don't care if you're wearing a 10-star, a blue uniform, a green uniform, carrying a gun. I don't give a shit who you are. If you infringe on my liberties, if you act in an unconstitutional manner, you're wrong, and you need to be held accountable. Now, we can hope that the court system would do that, but I think we all know what the chances of that happening are. So then you have to ask yourself, well, if the court's not going to do it, who will? Who do we turn to? Who's the last resort when it comes to exercising your rights and your freedom? I know who I think it is. Who do you think it is? And what does that mean? If you say you're going to stand up for your rights, ultimately, what can that lead to? What does that mean when you say that? So there are a lot of questions, a lot of things to think about. I try to be clear. I try to be succinct. I try to make my points in a way that anyone of any education level could understand. When I'm writing right now, while I'm talking to you, I try to talk to you as if I would want someone to talk to me. Just make it simple so I can understand it. You don't have to impress me with your vocabulary. You don't have to impress me with your educational background. If you have a point to make, just speak clearly, use English. No offense to anybody who doesn't speak English. Oh my God, I don't want to offend anyone with that. But I'm from Virginia, United States of America. I grew up speaking English. So if you're going to talk to me, you need to speak English because I don't understand other languages. Got it? But let's look at some of the things that are going on. Now, I've had some people on the Virginians for Constitutional Rights page take me to task for something I said. Now, the fascinating part to me is that page is about constitutional rights. And these people are fussing at me because I'm talking about constitutional rights. Now, guys, you got to make up your minds. Either you believe in constitutional rights or you don't. Or maybe you're one of those people who just believes in them when it's convenient for you. I try to believe in them all the time because I think the Bill of Rights and the Constitution are pretty good documents if we just adhere to them. But let's look at some of the things that are going on that should piss you off if you're concerned about constitutional rights and should have you questioning which side of the liberty spectrum you're on. This is from nj.com on the website. Facts first reporting from the source you trust. Subscribe now. So it's a New Jersey news website, okay? Here we are, April 12. New Jersey man sues prosecutors who seized $111,000 7 years ago. 7 years ago, but never charged him with a crime. Do I need to say that again? They seized $111,000 of his money, but never charged him with a crime. Now, maybe $111,000 doesn't seem like much to you. It sure as hell seems like a lot of money to me. And if somebody took it from me, I'd want to get it back. But who took the money? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Now, this is asset forfeiture. I know some of you people are familiar with this. Some of you like asset forfeiture because you think it's sticking it to the bad guys. But that depends on how you define bad guys, doesn't it? So the police, as agents of the state, can confiscate your property, be it money, vehicle, home, bank accounts, whatever, under the auspices of law enforcement, saying that they're doing it to help enforce the law, to make things better and safer for the rest of us. And they don't even have to charge you with a crime. Is there anyone out there, and please respond in the comment section, is there anyone out there who thinks that is constitutional? Anyone? You think that's constitutional? I don't give a damn if the Supreme Court says it is, or if the local prosecutor says it is, or if some governor says it is. You tell me, if you've read the Bill of Rights, if you've read the Constitution, I don't care if you're wearing a black robe or not. You tell me if you think that's constitutional. I sure as hell don't think it is. But from the article, a 52-year-old Bergen County man has sued prosecutors in 2 states, claiming detectives raided his home 7 years ago and seized more than $111,000 in cash, but never charged him with the crime and never returned the money. In a federal lawsuit, Neil Sebso, that's S-E-B-S-O, of Fort Lee, claims members of the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office came to his apartment with a search warrant on April 2nd, 2014, and seized $111,000 in cash. The investigators said during the raid that they were assisting the district attorney's office in Rockland County, New York, with an investigation, according to the complaint filed recently in U.S. District Court of New Jersey. Now, if you want to know more about it, you can look this up. Again, this is www.nj.com, and it's dated April 12. Now, it says the prosecutors seized the money. The prosecutors aren't the ones that knocked on that guy's door and presented the warrant and went in there and took the money. That was your heroes in blue. And they took the guy's money because they were following orders. They violated his constitutional rights because they were following the prosecutor's orders. Does that make them any less culpable than the prosecutor for violating that man's rights? Are you going to defend that? Well, they're just following orders. Yeah, well, so were Hitler's brown shirts. So was the SS. So were Stalin's death squads. So were Mao's death squads. They were just following orders. They didn't mean to do it. They didn't want to do it, but they were told they had to do it. So they did it. Is that okay with you? Is it just because you support the blue, it's all right if they do stuff like that because they're just following orders? Here's another one. Now, I know you're going to love this one. This is from the Western Journal. This is dated March 25th. Biden wants Supreme Court of the United States to let cops seize guns without a warrant. Now, I know, I can bet you money that the very ones of you who are fussing about, well, the police, you need to follow orders. You need to do what the police tell you to do, and you wouldn't have these problems. And the police are just following orders. I bet you're just screaming at the screen right now going, well, Biden can't do that. Who the hell does Biden think he is? That's unconstitutional. He can't tell the SCOTUS what to do. He can't just take guns without a warrant. That's unconstitutional. But if the police tell you to give them their guns, you better listen to the police. Do what they say. Because they're our heroes in blue. Now, I know some of you are hearing this and you think, well, Floyd, why are you a cop hater? I'm not a cop hater. I have a lot of friends who are cops. A lot of friends who used to be cops. I got nothing against cops who understand the oath that they took to the Constitution. They didn't take an oath to support the governor. They didn't take an oath to support the prosecutor. They took an oath to support, uphold, and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Look up the word domestic. So if you're willing to violate that oath, if you're willing to violate your fellow citizens' rights, then no, I got no use for you. Can you close that door, hon? My wife just got back from her walk. So, do I hate all cops? No. Do I hate cops who violate the Constitution? You're damn right I do. I'll make no bones about it, and I won't apologize for it. And you can call me any name, any kind of son of a bitch you want to call me. I don't care if you're a cop, a politician, a judge, a lawyer. I don't give a damn who you are. If you violate the Constitution, you infringe on my rights, you infringe on other people's rights, I got no use for you. And I've known some good cops in my time, and I'm not saying we don't need cops. I'm not one of these defund the cops or abolish the cops people. I do believe we need some police reform, but that's another video for another time. And one of the things, I'll just say quickly, one of those reforms is we need to get rid of this asset forfeiture bullshit. Because all that does is create enemies out of police. You want to respect the police? You want them to be your friends? You want to believe that they protect and serve? Then they need to show through their actions that they're willing to do that, that they're willing to uphold their oath to office. And when a prosecutor or their chief or whoever the hell it is gives them an order that they know is a violation of the Constitution, they need to tell them to go pound sand. Oh, Floyd, that's not practical. That's not realistic. Folks, that's the only way it's going to change. That's the only thing that's going to fix it. If people are willing to continue to follow orders that they know are unlawful or unconstitutional, then how the hell is anything going to get fixed? Well, you do it for the voting through the voting process, Floyd. Yeah, well, we see how that works. So don't tell me we need to do it through the ballot box. We need to vote. We need to make our opinions heard, because we make our opinions heard every day. We see where that's getting us, don't we? I mean, say one thing. You can say what you want about BLM and Antifa, but at least, you know, they understand the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So say what you want about them. I don't have any use for them, but they get attention and they get people to make changes because they're doing what they're doing. Well, Floyd, what are you saying? I'm saying that maybe we need to start making a little more noise, but be more focused. You know, surgical strikes instead of just going after any and everybody. But that's just me. I'm crazy that way. You can't have, and this is the point I was trying to make in a previous post, you can't have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of new laws every year, both local, state, and federal, added to, piled on top of all of the laws we already have, which the police are ordered to enforce. Many of these laws, and you know this as well as I do, many of these laws are not designed or created for safety. They're designed and created to bring in revenue for the state. All the police wind up being is money collectors. They're revenue agents. Look at some of the damn stupid laws that they're asked to enforce. Laws that will come after you or me as individuals. We're not hurting anybody. There's victimless crimes. But if you break that law and you resist the police, you say, look, this is bullshit. Why are you doing this? There's not a law on the books, no matter how small or trivial or minor it is, that they won't kill you to enforce. Oh, but Floyd, you should do what the police tell you to do. Well, what if the police are wrong? What if the police are bringing violence into the situation that doesn't need to be there? Are you supposed to allow them to just beat you, shoot you, hurt you? All you people who tell me I should listen to the police and just follow orders. So what you're saying basically is I should just forget about my rights and exercising them. I should forget about standing up for myself or for my rights or for the Constitution. What are you going to do when those same police come to your door to take your guns? What if Biden gets his way? What if Biden gets the Supreme Court of the United States to rule that the police can come to your house and take your guns without a warrant? What are you going to do? You going to obey the police and go through the court system to get your guns back? Why don't you ask that guy in New Jersey about his $111,000 that he's still waiting after 7 years to get back? Ask him how the court system's working for him. Ask anybody else who has had guns seized. Remember Katrina in New Orleans? Remember all the gun confiscations down there? There's videos of it on YouTube. You can look it up. Oh, the police would never violate your constitutional rights. Yeah, watch the videos of the police and the National Guard going door to door in New Orleans to private citizens' homes, taking their guns. And then do your research and find out how many of those people still haven't gotten those guns back. And look at what they had to go through, those who have gotten them back. Look at what they had to go through to get them back. Folks, you need to come to grips with this. I know you don't like to hear it. I know you think I'm picking on the police and they're your heroes, and you don't want to hear anyone say anything bad about them. But here's the reality we're dealing with. Somebody's violating your rights. You want to point to the politicians and say, well, it's that liberal politician over there, or it's that right-wing zealot over there. But they're not the ones coming to your door. They're not the ones pulling you over on the street because you got an air freshener hanging from your rearview mirror. Yeah, you think I'm joking about that. I challenge you, Google stupid laws and look at some of the dumb shit that's on the books that police enforce. And do some further research and see how many people have been killed over some of this stuff. My point has been that if you stop with all of these unnecessary, unconstitutional laws, you create fewer and fewer reasons for the police to interact with people, to arrest them, to give them tickets, to pull them over. Yes, you need laws for safety, common sense stuff. I don't want some guy running a red light and smashing into my car when I'm going to work or something. But it's against the law to have a freaking air freshener hanging from your rearview mirror in your car. Come on, guys, really? And that's just one example. There are thousands of others. Some of you even know some of them. You've looked this up before. But we've got to come deal with reality. When you talk about standing up for your rights, who are you standing up against? What are you going to do about it? Who do you go after? Oh, well, we need to vote harder next election, Floyd. Yeah, well, this past election just showed you that voting doesn't count for a damn thing. I'm not even a Donald Trump fan. And you're never going to convince me that Joe Biden got more votes during this past election than Barack Obama got. Come on. I'm not that stupid. Now, I'm not saying I'm crazy about the idea of Trump being president, but for Christ's sake, let's deal with reality. Joe Biden got more votes? Nah. You saw the videos. You saw the affidavits. They cheated their asses off, and they're getting away with it. So if they can get away with a presidential election and cheating like they did for that, what the hell's the point in voting anymore? You think you're going to vote that politician out who helped pass that law? I mean, hell, if Ralph Northam could run again, he would. But instead, we're going to get Terry McAuliffe again. Well, you think McAuliffe's going to be any better? My point in all this is you keep talking about the voting booth. We're going to fix things by voting for the right people. Well, the Republicans aren't giving you the right people. What the hell have the Republicans done to fix anything? I mean, they whine and whimper when they're not in power. They say all the right things when they get voted out of office and they want to get back into office. They tell you what you want to hear. But then if they get elected, they go right back to doing the same old shit. They don't change anything. At least the Democrats, you can say, have become in recent years more honest and open about who and what they are. They're American communists. Many of them aren't even hiding from it anymore. They used to shy away from that word, but shit, now they don't care. And why should they care? There's not a damn thing you and I can do about it. But if you're not going to stand up for your rights, if you're not going to say to someone who's trying to violate your rights, screw you, then what are you going to do? You going to wag your finger at them? You can't do that. I'm going to sue you. Yeah, we're going to sue the police. Well, that's great, except that you're not really suing the police, are you? Minneapolis, how much did they pay out for the George Floyd death to his family? It ain't the city paying it. It's the city's taxpayers paying it. It ain't the police paying it. It's the taxpayers. I don't know. I mean, I could go on with this. It just frustrates the hell out of me that I have to explain this further because some people just don't seem to get it. Let me wrap it up. Fewer laws, fewer reasons for the police to encounter people for the purposes of arresting them and garnering more revenue for the state. Okay? Now, if you just robbed a bank and shot a teller and you're on the way out and the police try to stop you and you shoot at the police and they shoot you, look, I'm not even going to attempt to deny they should have done that. But let's look, we'll go back to New York a few years back when I forget the guy's name now, but he was choked to death for selling cigarettes on the street, untaxed cigarettes. Yeah, he resisted. They had, a dozen cops around the guy? They couldn't have tased him or gotten him to the ground without choking him to death. Here in Richmond, not too long ago, the guy that was had mental issues, he was on drugs, he was buck naked out in the middle of 95. Must have been a dozen police officers surrounding him. You telling me that with a dozen police officers there, they couldn't have just gang rushed the guy and put him to the ground? They had to shoot him instead. I mean, it's things like that. And don't act like I haven't been there. I've been one-on-one with people who've been trying to hurt and kill me. That's another story for another time. So I know what's out there. I know what cops are dealing with. So when you hear me say these things, don't act like, well, Floyd, you don't know what they go through. Yeah, actually, I do. I've been there. And I don't have, when I was doing it, I didn't have backup. I didn't have someone I could get on the radio and call for help. So I know what's going on. I know there are other ways you can deal with situations. But you, as a free citizen, need to decide what that means to you. What is being free? What are you willing to stand up for, and who are you willing to stand up against? And I'm not saying you got to be an asshole with cops every time you encounter one, but you need to make it clear that you understand your rights and you're not going to see them violated without doing something about it. Now, maybe you've got more patience. Maybe you're willing to go through the court system later and try to get back what they took or try to sue the police for violating your rights. Okay. Not everybody has that kind of patience. I just liken it. I go back to the founding of this nation and the patience exhibited by our founding fathers leading up to the straw that broke the camel's back, and they finally decided, the Declaration of Independence, we're going to fight for our freedom. Not wag our fingers, not make loud speeches, not vote harder during the next election. We're going to kill people who are trying to take our rights from us. Well, Mr. and Mrs. American, at some point, you're going to have to make a decision. Mr. and Mrs. Police Officer, you swore an oath. What does that oath mean to you? Do you only pay attention to it when it's convenient? Is there going to come a time where you're going to say to your boss or to your local prosecutor or to your governor or whoever it is, I'm not doing that. That's not what I signed up for. Is that an easy decision to make? No, I don't imagine it would be. But whatever the decision you do make is going to tell us who you are. You, Mr. and Mrs. Citizen, have to make the same kind of choices. Who are you? What is liberty to you? What are you willing to do to keep or to get back your liberty? These are all things you need to be thinking about. If you have any questions, there's a comment section. If I haven't made myself clear, if you're still not sure about where I stand on some of this stuff, ask me a question. All right, that's all for now.